Beans and Brodo. It was written by
yes, but I haven't read
Isabella
it actually.
Ducey.
Yes.
Yeah, and then she wrote the sequel Belvino as well. So I was absolutely fascinated by her stories about Montalcino and Brunello. So that was why we chose Montalcino for this trip. And so I thank you to Isabella Ducey for bringing me there. And at that point, I had no plans to start a wine tourism business or anything like that. I wasn't working in wine. It was just purely a break with my husband. And then over the years, since then, I was learning more about wine, self-taught. And then my town in my city, a very nice fine wine lounge opened about 5 years ago. And they were offering the level 1 and 2 WSET qualifications, which and also probably for the first time made it possible to drink fine wine in Plymouth, to go out for an evening, and be able to buy something special, It was just not possible before. Isn't that really sad? But anyway, thanks so much to Lily Noble for opening and making this possible. So I did level 1 WSET just for fun, and I went straight on and I did level 2 because I enjoyed it so much I couldn't wait to learn more. And it was shortly after that point that I decided that I would like to start my wine tourism business, because I've always loved travel as well and languages. So that was the first step, and setting that all up. And that was about 2 years ago that I started Away with Wine.
Okay.
And in that time, I have been fortunate to visit some very nice places, not just in Italy, but so far in other European countries as well. And in that first year, coming up to 2 years in July, I had the idea of starting a Twitter chat about wine, because there are a lot of chats in the US, but they're usually in the evening over there and well past our European bedtime. So
yes, that's always the problem.
Yeah. So the day that I thought of this, I searched on Twitter to see if anyone had ever used the hashtag UK Wine Hour, and no one had ever used it before. So I thought, that's me. That's what we'll be. And I had a few friends in wine through Vivino. You know the app Vivino?
Yeah.
And one of them in particular is John Mobbs, who tweets his Great British Wine, and he's a specialist on English and UK wine.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I've seen them.
John was really supportive right from the start, and in the beginning we didn't have many people join in, obviously, and sort of it was a slow starter, but we were determined to persevere. And so every single Thursday, apart from at Christmas, we either John or I hosted UK Wine Hour, and it just went from strength to strength, really. It's a great community, and there are so many lovely and fun people from all walks of life, and some who are in the wine trade, but the vast majority are enthusiastic amateurs, and they love it. They really enjoy learning something new each week, which we all do, really. So, and we had our first live meetup last July, and then we had another one in January. So we're now busy planning July and November. So you might have to come over to the UK to attend, Katerina.
Yeah, that would be fun. I mean, it's a fun chat. When I manage, I follow you, but it's not always. If I'm out, it's a bit difficult to remember. But I like it a lot. So there's a shout out from John Mobbs. I guess he's a friend of yours. In the comments?
Yes, that's John I just mentioned. I just saw it pop up on the screen.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was busy reading all the comments, and so I missed that. I'm sorry.
Just into your page so I can share the stream again.
So while she's doing that, I'm sorry I missed John Mobbs. I'm sorry. I was kind of all over the place to share everywhere. So just continue talking about the UK Wine Hour, because I think for those of you who doesn't follow Twitter chats, it's a really good way to connect with people and to also learn more about. I mean, if you're interested in wine, there are so many communities, and There's so much to learn. I think it's a really good way to
Yeah. And we cover so many different topics and themes. Hi, John. I'm just seeing his comment. I'm glad you're enjoying UK Wine Hour. You've been my yeah, I mean, we've covered all sorts of topics and themes. Sometimes we focus on one grape varietal or one wine region, but we have also talked about things like women and wine, and that was our first chat back in the new year, which, oh my goodness, it was probably the busiest chat we ever had. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was trending on Twitter. And the week after, we did wine and books, and that was so popular. And on our UK Wine, our Facebook page, we do have a post with lots of the book recommendations that were mentioned that night, both factual and reference books, but also fiction. And it's amazing how many books, fiction novels there are out there, set in wine regions or featuring vineyards, and it's actually really fun. And I've been reading a lot of them recently.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of chats. There's this chat in Texas, Keepers Collective, I think. They also used to do wine and literature and invite authors who talked about new their new books that were coming out. So I think it's a very interesting topic because there's a lot of people who write, and not only kind of informative books, but also fiction. So
yeah, it's a new genre in books.
Yeah, that's true.
But as I said, it was a book that led me to this life, really, I think. You know, Isabella Ducey and her Vanilla Beans and Brodo. Yeah.
So fun. So when you decided to set up the wine UK Wine Hour chat, you said a bit that it took a bit of time, as it always does, to get it started and to get people coming. Did you have any goals from the beginning? That you wanted to talk about things in general, or that you wanted to focus more on particular areas of wine? Or
I think in the beginning it was a learning curve for sure. And in the beginning, we did tend to focus more on grape varietals or regions or maybe entire countries. But I think we're pushing the boat out a little bit more each time. And if there's anything in the news, we like to bring that in as well, anything wine related in the news. And for example, last week we had the budget here, which didn't go done very well in the wine world. But although my theme was talking about Rioja, we had to start off with talking about what was topical in the news, and it was hi Agatha, I'm just seeing you popping up there.
Hello Agatha, welcome to this live stream. So please continue.
But it's good for people to be able to express their opinion and maybe have a little rant about things they're not happy with. So
True.
I don't know tomorrow night if I have a guest host tomorrow night. Thursday night I have a guest host, Ben Glazier.
Yeah, I saw that.
Talking about orange wine, which will be very interesting. I don't know very much about orange wine, and I haven't tasted very many of them, so I had to defer to someone much more experience. But I don't know if anything will crop up in the news, perhaps for a little discussion as well, perhaps something to do with the triggering of Article 50 this week, which affects a lot of British people in the EU and a lot of EU people here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
A lot of whom are employed in the wine trade. So,
yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that's interesting. So, how long have you been? You said that you started it in. When did you start the chat? 2 years ago, or?
Yeah, it'll be 2 years in July. And so we've just confirmed our venues for our next 2 live events, and I mean they just get bigger and bigger each time. And we've decided to take the next one to Manchester, because we have a lot of participants in UK Wine Hour who live in the north of the country, and they've often said, oh, we would love to come, but it's too far, you know. So we said, well, let's bring it to you. So we're coming to Manchester, and we're hosting it in a beautiful old music school called Chetham's Music School. And they have this beautiful old medieval hall. It's absolutely stunning. And we have a number of wine producers already involved who are going to take part and showcase their wines on the night. And further details will be coming up very shortly. It will be open for booking very soon. And then in November, 24th of November, July is the 14th of July in Manchester. And it's great because all these people who are tweeting each other every week, they finally get to meet, you know? It's an amazing...
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, because also it takes it from online to offline, so the connection becomes stronger, and I guess also the following becomes more more engaged and more active. That's what I see.
Yeah, and also for the producers and suppliers who are showcasing their wines, it's a different type of audience from a traditional wine tasting event. So, I mean, there are lots of events all around the country all the time that people buy tickets and go along and taste lots of wine and have a good time with their friends and so on. But I think because the people who come to UK Wine Hour Live come via social media, they're all prolific tweeters. So the audience for the wines that are showcased, it's not just the people who are there on the day drinking the wines, but their extended audience then on social media, because every single one of them will then go on and talk about these wines and with great enthusiasm. Whereas other wine tasting events I've been to, obviously, people like you, Katerina, and myself, we will be tweeting about the wines we've tasted, but when I search for these particular events, I'm always shocked at how few tweets there are about them. So it's really interesting, and I think it's a whole new way of getting news about wine to a new audience.
I think at least in Italy, I think there's, unless it's events where actually influencers have gathered a group just to tweet or post about it. I mean, it's very difficult to get people to tweet, at least here, because not that many are using Twitter, and they don't. I think it's still bigger abroad. I think Twitter here in Italy is more for the people who actually have, started using it and understood its potential, but that they're also using it for work as influencers or social media managers or bloggers. But otherwise, it's difficult to get people to do anything else than post a photo on Facebook, and I think that's
what is John's?
The real life social meeting. Post a photo on Facebook, and I think that's.
Oops, sorry, I've got a double. I was trying to read it, but it doesn't work that way.
I put it on the screen now, so I think you can see it.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, I agree. I think you talk about Italy and that not many people use Twitter, but I do find that there are probably more people in Italy on Vivino, for example, than are in the UK. And the reason I know this is because every time I go to Italy and change my location, my ranking falls way down. So there's a lot of people drinking a lot of wine in Italy and reviewing them. I must confess, I have been very slack recently. I have not been reviewing enough wine on Vivino.
I don't use. I know that a lot of people use it here, but I don't use it that much, I must say. I'm a bit lazy with Vivino. But I know that it's very popular here in Italy. So I think we froze now because sometimes BeLive freezes, so we will just reload. Okay. Let's see if we get back online, because I think it froze.
Are we back again?
Okay,
Sorry,
yes.
my internet
No,
connection dropped
Be
briefly.
Live, it freezes sometimes, so it's just to
Yeah,
reload. Sorry.
that's all right.
So we were saying, yeah, sorry, it dropped, but no problem. Yeah, the Vivino. Yes, I'm a bit lazy with the Vivino. I don't use it very much, but I think it's a very good tool, and I know that in Italy there's a lot of people, and a lot of people, of course, tourists traveling to Italy who register whatever they drink here. So
I think it has brought a lot of people together.
Yeah.
And I've certainly made a lot of friends through it around the world. But, I do always still always scan what I'm drinking, but I might not get around to reviewing it for 6 months.
Well, that's okay as long as that's sometimes. But I think it's a really good tool. I mean, also to learn more about wine constantly and get new tips. So there's also David Turner following, I think, who is probably a friend of yours.
Yes, yeah. Hi, David.
So it's fun to get new people here. As usually, I have these people who follow my producers and other enologist friends. So I think it's very nice to have a bit of new contacts. Yeah. So I don't know if you want to ask Sorcha anything about her UK Wine Hour chat. You can do so, and then I'll just post the comments here on the screen or the questions.
I'll give a little shout out to David. You said he's just joined. David is a great supporter of UK Wine Hour, and he came over in January to showcase his Avena wine accessories. With us, he's sponsoring us in July. Let me just show you. I'll have to since he's here. His lovely wine stoppers. Can you see?
Oh, they're really cool. Oh,
it's really great. For example, I'll show you on this lovely bottle of Chiavi Lumini d'Aragona. It actually seals.
Wow, so that's cool.
You can leave it on its side. You can, it's not going to spill. But they also do a lovely range. They do champagne stoppers and a lovely range of corkscrews and things like that. And that's Avena wine tools. So we're very grateful to them for their support of UK Wine Hour. Cheers, David.
So they're called Avena?
Avena. Yeah. Obviously, this is
So anything else you want to add about any challenges with the Wine Hour chat? Anything you feel is important to communicate? I mean, for those of you who have never followed it, I recommend that you should. It's every Thursday at 8 GMT.
8 Central European Time.
Yes. 7 British time. 7
GMT. So that will soon be in a couple of weeks, British summer time, but it will always be at 7. It has been right from the beginning, and sometimes I get people who ask about having it at a different time, but it takes a lot of preparation, it takes a lot of time, and whoever is hosting it usually carries on for quite a long time afterwards, wrapping up and making sure that they've acknowledged everybody who's taken part. And so, to have it much later in the evening, it's bedtime then, and we don't get time to relax. Hi, David. Welcome. It's a pleasure to give a demo of your wonderful stoppers.
No, it is a lot of work with these live streams and chats. So it's it takes some hour before and some hours after to check it out and prepare and be there. Yeah. So
I'm very lucky. There's a core group of people who will host for me if I need someone to step in or if I'm away on a tour. And as I already mentioned, John, Ben, who's hosting on Thursday, Ben Glazier, he has hosted for me several times. Society has. I think Andy Leach assisted for me. Gosh, I'm trying to remember who else. I'm going to have left someone out, I know. but there is a core group, and I'm so grateful to them for the support, every single one of them, and those who are really helping me with organising the live events as well. I have to give a big shout out to Francesca Gaffi, who has been amazing finding our venue in Manchester and has been tireless in doing that. And she's also, Francesca works in PR. I recommend her to anyone if you need a PR person in the UK. And but she's just done so much for us behind the scenes. You know, it really makes a huge difference having all that support. And I couldn't do it all without them all. Actually, no.
No, it's true. It takes I mean, I so far mostly do it on my own. I mean, I have someone who sometimes helps out. But I mean, it's also different with a live show because somehow it has to be my face on the show to not lose. So it's a bit different, but it's also, I mean, I think Twitter chat is a bit more work in that sense that you have to follow the stream and you have to follow the reply and the tweets and the retweets. So I think there you need to be, more than one person.
Yeah, you can have very stiff fingers and thumbs by the end, all the tweeting and retweeting at speed.
True. So,
but I think our live events this year are just going to be phenomenal, and they're going from strength to strength with more exhibitors and more attendees. And I think who knows how this will continue to grow.
When you do these events, do you plan which wines beforehand that you want to taste, or?
Well, obviously, it largely depends on at the moment. Producers approaching us and asking if they can be involved and asking if they can show their wines. When there hasn't been anybody that we don't want, everybody has been kind and generous. And, I think everybody has something to offer. And we've been so fortunate by the variety of wines that we have had exhibited. And I think everybody has discovered new wines at our event so far. We've also been quite well supported by the English wine industry, in particular, with a few showcasing at each event, and I'm sure that will continue as well. Because of course we're incredibly proud of what's happening here in the UK with English wine, and I have a soft spot for sparkling wine, and 75% of English wine is sparkling, so. Good.
No, they're having a great success period for the moment.
Absolutely. And I think as the climate seems to be changing, it seems to be changing in the favour of English vineyards. So a lot of them are growing and planting more. So it'll be really interesting to see how this goes over the next 10, 15 years.
No, I mean, I think Northern Europe is going to become more. I mean, because also Netherlands also now has sparkling wine coming up, I think.
Yes. I haven't tried any yet.
No, me neither. But I read this article the other day. So.
That would be good.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But I think it's also John Mobs again here. I'll post you the comment. Both sparkling and still about the British.
John would be great. We would love that. John is such an ambassador for English wine. He really is.
So, do you have any Italian wine when you are at these live meetings?
Yes, we have been very fortunate to be sponsored both times, but so far by Luca Montuore, who imports Italian wine through his company Vinitalia. He's based in Cardiff, and I've been trying quite a few of his wines recently, and they're very good. And he likes to work with small family producers, and I'll probably be working a little bit more with Luca myself over the next couple of years, I think. We've been planning and scheming things together, so watch this space. But Luca has been bringing some fantastic wines, and I think one of the favourites at the last event was his Montefalco Sagrantino. That's
a great wine.
I think I might have a bottle downstairs. I could bring it and show you, but I can't remember the name of the wine right now.
Don't worry.
But it was so good. And Yeah, because did you go to the Anteprima Montefalco?
No, I never went. It was too much because it was in the same period as
Yes,
the Brunello. So I mean, I went to 3-4 Anteprima this year, which was a lot because then there's also tastings around. I mean, that you get invited to and dinner. So
I think it was Fabien Lene that went. I think I saw that he was there this year. So.
But I went several times last year to Umbria. One time on a trip where I was invited by 2 wineries, and then another time I went to meet up with Stephanie Davis. She is together with Valerie Caruso. They're the host of the American wine podcast Wine to Five. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh yeah.
They're in Colorado, and she was for a month with her husband in Umbria, so I went to see them, which was very fun.
Yeah.
To take also the online to real life meeting, which is actually pretty cool. So, and then, I mean, we didn't go to any winery, but we tried different wines. And I also went on another tour to a couple of other, perhaps 2-3 years ago, I think. So it's a region which is up and coming. Because they have been a bit unfortunate before, I think, being a bit in between Tuscany and a bit in the shadow of Tuscany. So I think that Sargantino wines have not been as appreciated before as they start becoming now. Also because it's difficult wines; they're very tannic, so they have to age a bit before it's.
It's very powerful.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not so well known in the UK, I don't think. It's
I mean, one fabulous winery, he's actually a biodynamic. I had him on my show last year. He was one of my first guests. So, and it's Di Filippo. I don't know if you tasted his wine. Di Filippo Winery in Canara, which is between Montefalco and Perugia.
Doesn't ring a bell.
No, but he produced Sargantino wines. They're not exactly in Montefalco, but a bit outside, and he's both organic and biodynamic. And he produced a very interesting Sargantino. It's a bit more powerful than the ones more in Montefalco, but it's very good.
Well, it'd be good to try sometime.
Yes. No, but feel free to check it out because.
My next trip over in your direction, well, I'll be in Sicily in a couple of weeks for the International Wine Tourism Conference.
Ah, yeah, you told me.
Rather awesome. Last year it was in Catalonia, and this year it's in southeast Sicily. So there'll be 2 days of a conference with speakers and seminars, and then a workshop, business-to-business workshop, and then we have a farm trip for a few days. So I get to visit some great wineries and see around a little bit more of beautiful Sicily. So I'm looking forward to that very much.
That's cool.
I'll be back in Tuscany at the end of June. I'm running a wine tour to Montalcino with Amelia Singer from the Wine Show. Are you familiar with the Wine Show?
No, I just checked her out on Twitter. I don't know her that well, I must say, but it looked.
And the Wine Show has been very popular amongst wine lovers here in the UK, and Amelia is the lovely lady presenter, and she's such a nice girl, and she's going to come with us to Montalcino for our Brunello tour at the end of June. So there are a few places left on that trip, but my trips are usually very small groups. I'll only have a maximum of 10 people on in the group. So,
okay.
So which is great because, I mean, and especially I think if you have a wine celebrity like Amelia on your tour, it's really nice for the guests to feel, that they have the opportunity to really get to talk to her and get to know her. And we'll be visiting some of my favorite Brunello wineries. Of course, we'll visit Piccolimini, Aragona, and we're going to meet up with Paolo Bianchini in the Old Cellars, which I didn't have a chance to do last time, and I didn't have a chance to view the Old Cellars because I could only go on a Saturday, and they're only open on weekdays, and also a bit busy at weekends. So So this time we will be seeing him, and then back to where they have their new winery, and of course, and see their beautiful wolves. Did you know that they have wolves there?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they're quite magnificent creatures. I think they're Czechoslovakian wolves, and they just look quite magnificent. But as it just gives something extra to the winery, I just think it's fabulous. Yeah.
Well, it's a fabulous area, so I mean, it's just so beautiful.
Yeah, and I love to visit Casato Prima Donne,
Donatella Cinelli, yes.
I love the ethos of that winery, and I love that it's got such a dominant female influence, and that everybody working there is female. I love that.
Yeah, it's a great winery. I visited that sometime too, and I mean, I meet them often at wine tastings. So
yes,
it's a great place. Did you go to their place in Valdorcia too?
Not yet, but I do intend to.
That's very beautiful.
Yeah, the Fattoria del Colle. I do offer it as for private groups, somewhere to stay, because they have some lovely accommodation there.
Yeah.
I haven't used it for my Brunello trip, because I think when you go to Montalcino,
no, it's just
you want to stay inside the time. You want to stay inside the walls, because it's just magical. And so we always stay at Il Giglio, and they look after us very well, and the food is excellent, and so is the dinner.
No, but I imagine it's already too much to do too many other things. If you go to a place, you have to suck it into and kind of experience it. So
yeah,
I think.
But you want to be in Montalcino. You want to be able to go for a little wander in the evening and have a drink at the Escateria, and and just soak up the atmosphere there. It's a very special place, I think.
No, that's true. I mean, it's a kind of a magical place. I think also to just watch the landscape and scenery around from the village. So it's special.
Yeah.
And do you visit Cupano too? Because I think you collaborated with Cupano, no?
I love Cupano. And I do quite a variety of different places, because I mean we also do Banfi, because I know it's just this vast commercial operation, but I think it's nice to contrast. So we usually try to do Banfi on the same day as we do Cupano. They're quite nearby, so it's such a huge contrast, the two together. And Cupano is totally organic and so special. I mean, you go there, you're visiting Lionel and Ornella in their home. It's and just to sit and listen to Lionel I could sit and listen to him for hours, because he's so interesting and has so many great stories to tell. But on the other hand, although Banfi is such a huge commercial operation, they are so incredibly welcoming, and they look after us so very, very well. So we do the winery tour, but we usually have a really nice tasting lunch there at the Foggiuale Mura. And then the opportunities for tasting some of their finest Brunellos, and from a long time ago is possible. So it's nice to offer lots of different experiences, really.
No, but I think that's important too. I mean, Stephanie Davis also went there because they got invited when they went to Umbria, and they took a tour to Montalcino and Banfi and some other winery. So she said the same, that they're extremely welcoming, and they came to pick them up and they let them stay there. And so, and I think that's a really good strategy also, because you have to be kind of inviting and engaging also. So I think
it's a 5-star visit, really. I mean, the hotel that they have is just wonderful. I'd love to go and stay there myself sometime, But again, I don't generally choose it for my scheduled tours, because it's too far out of the town. But if I was to organize something for a private group or a corporate group or something, I would have no hesitation in booking my clients in there. It's just they do it so well.
So you said that your starting of this wine touring business came about just very by the way, there was nothing planned. So what were the challenges in the beginning? How did you have precise ideas of how you wanted to do it, or did it just kind of come step by step? Or
Well, I mean, there was a lot to learn and a lot to set up, because running a travel company in itself has got a lot of implications and legal requirements and things like that you need to make sure that you take care of. Particularly, I don't know what it's like in Italy itself, but in the UK, there are a lot of rules and regulations for consumer protection. So I had to do a lot of research on that in the beginning. Make sure that I was offering 100% financial protection to my clients, which I think is imperative. And sometimes I do see some people offering wine tours without the protection for their clients, and they're obviously breaking the law, but I don't know how they can even consider it. You know, I mean, it's just, you know,
it would be very scary, because if something happens,
yeah, I'm very. You know, I'm a stickler for the rules, and so I do have all of that taken care of through an organisation called the Travel Trust Association, and I'm also registered with ATOL so that I can provide flights packaged with tours. So that was a lot to learn for me. I knew where I wanted to go. I knew that I wanted to travel, take my clients to places which were associated with fine wines, and wines that were recognized and would be attractive to people, like Tuscany or Piemonte or Rioja, you know, that kind of region. Yeah. And in the beginning, I thought, okay, so let's just start emailing these wineries and saying, I'd like to bring a tour group. And, you know, I was amazed by how welcoming people are, you know, and I think in general in the wine business, most people are kind and friendly and encouraging, and they love to encourage people to come and visit. And I've never ever had a problem with organizing tours. You know, it's never been a problem to organize the tours themselves. Hotels as well, super. You know, particularly in Italy and Spain. You know, I just find them so friendly, so personal, you know, and everyone has made it easy for me. I think, you know.
No, it's true that people are very friendly here, and they try to help you as far as they can.
Yeah. So. I suppose one of the biggest challenges, like in any new business, is getting the word out, you know, and my first website was not very good. I quickly learned for Google and search engine optimization. So just over a year ago, I started replacing that with a new website, which is much more optimized and seems to be working much better for me. Things like that. So, you know, I think my clients tend to be sort of a younger demographic, and perhaps more of internet users, really. I think there are some tour companies that a lot of their clients are older and retired, but I don't seem to get so many of those. I get a lot of younger, you know, people who are still working, you know, good jobs, like their wine, you know, and want it all to be taken care of for them. So and it's the internet generation, really, that
But did you have this in mind when you started out, that you wanted a certain kind of traveler, attract a certain kind of traveler, or did you just try and see?
Well, I did do quite a few surveys and market research surveys and things like that, but probably not as big as I could have done. But I was starting small, so you know. But I think it's just been interesting to see how it's evolved. I have some clients now traveling in their 20s, you know, and it's great to see people young like that who care so much about fine wine, you know. It's really quite exciting, I think. You know?
But I think it's a new trend now. That it's really a lot of young people who are very interested in. Because I also see with the Sommelier Association where I'm kind of active within, that it's a lot of people who are very young now. I mean, who wants to learn more and who wants to know what it's all about. You know, what wines and how to approach and what to think of. And I think that's curious because before, I mean, when I was still in Sweden, people didn't drink that much wine because fine wine consumption in Sweden has become more during the last 10 years, more broad.
Yeah.
Before it was mostly kind of older men in their 60s who were part of these kind of clubs or older couples. I mean, people in their 50s, 60s or kind of higher business, well-off people who could afford the best Brunellos and stuff, and who were more into wine. But that is, I mean, it is a new trend, I think, the last 10, 15 years.
I think so. I definitely think so. Yeah. I just want to say hello to Ben, because I saw that he popped up there, Ben Glazier. And that's Ben, who's hosting UK Wine Hour on Thursday for us on orange wine. So Ben is originally from South Australia, but he lives in London.
Okay.
And he has an amazing palate. I mean, he has such a great in-depth knowledge of wine, and an absolute essential member of UK Wine Hour.
Yeah, I've seen him in all the chats. So it's nice to have all of you here. So welcome, Ben, too. And for those of you who are new here, who are following without commenting, Sorcha Holloway is our guest at Wines of Italy today. And we're talking about her UK Wine Hour Twitter chat and her Away with Wine travel agency or travel business. So it's very interesting also because I think it's nice to know another perspective and to not always discuss only from the wine producer's perspective or from perhaps the enologist or sommelier. So I think it could be interesting for wine producers to know also a bit more about, what people abroad like and what they are interested in. Perhaps also what I'm trying now always to think about also when I help some wineries to think about their ideal follower, their ideal fan or their ideal client, because I think you often think probably that if you have a winery, it's obvious who your clients are, but I think with this new digital marketing and things, it's not always that obvious because you have to think a bit more about who you are talking to and your language. And so I think it's interesting to know more about what you do today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Italian wine.
Me too.
And Italy is my passion, really. I would spend forever there if I could. So I mean, I'm usually there 3 or 4 times a year. So, and I wish I could go more often. But this summer, I'm going to be spending quite a considerable amount of time in Spain, in fact. But I think next year, in the summer, with during when my son is on school holidays, I think I'll be spending a much more significant portion of the holiday in Italy. So often when I'm over on a tour or on a workshop or conference or whatever, it's a bit of a rush to be there, do the tour, come back again. And I think it would be nice to spend maybe 3 to 4 weeks, wandering around a few different regions and meeting up with some more of the producers and suppliers that I interact with regularly on Twitter, and I just don't have time to go and say so. And I also was at a tasting in London last week, a Friarwood portfolio tasting, and I was speaking to Manfredo from Conti San Bonifacio, and they have a lovely resort there near the coast in Tuscany. So I really want to go and see them as well and visit and stay, because I think it would be a fabulous place for my private groups and corporate. I
think so too.
It looks beautiful.
So which are your favorite regions? I mean, Tuscany, of course, but which other regions do you like?
I love the Veneto. I think the Veneto is just so rich. There's so much to see and do, so many different types of wine. we did an Amarone tour there at the end of August last year. I usually don't like to do tours during the school holidays, but because I wanted to take in the opera festival at the Arena de Verona, we went that very last weekend in August, which was the last weekend of the festival, so that we could arrange for the clients to go and see the opera. And we did. We went to see Carmen, and it was just
that's great.
But that was all Amarone. But I think I'm planning to go back there next year. But I think I will probably mix it up a little bit, and maybe have a day for Soave and maybe some Bardolino experience as well. So, but it's so beautiful. The whole area is so beautiful, and there are so many wonderful hotels. It's just so difficult to choose, because we stayed last year in an absolutely stunning hotel called the Byblos Art Hotel Villa Amista, and it's just as you come into Valpolicella, and it's an absolutely stunning old house which has been converted, and it's just absolutely packed to the ceiling with modern art. The artwork is just incredible. It was mind-blowing. I've never seen anything like it. It was a museum. It really was. And that was just such a beautiful place to stay. And they looked after us so well. It was really lovely. And, I just sort of think, well, it's so easy just to go back and stay there again and again. But there are so many other wonderful hotels in the area to stay as well.
The people in Veneto are very good with this. They're very kind of active in the sense to provide also kind of top level. I think Tuscany are very good, but I think in Veneto they're more business oriented in the sense that they're more kind of more innovative and more modern in their sense of looking up on things. I think in Tuscany they're very good, but they're also kind of more traditional in a sense. I think there's a difference between Veneto and Tuscany.
I think the other great experience that I had in the last year was I went for a day to the Tenuta Venissa on Mazzorco Island in the lagoon.
Oh, okay. No, I've never been there.
It's owned by Gianluca Bisol of the Prosecco family, and I love Burano and Mazzorco are two of my favorite islands on the Venetian lagoon. I like it's just so quiet and so different. And when the cruise shippers aren't there in particular during the day, the early morning and early evening, really, really beautiful. So I was absolutely thrilled to get the opportunity to visit the vineyard there at the end of that last trip. And they make a really interesting wine, which is veering towards Ben's topic for Thursday, I think. It's not an orange wine, but it's sort of tending a little bit in that direction. They rediscovered, Gianluca Bisol rediscovered this Doruna grape varietal, which they thought was extinct after the floods of 1966, I think. The same year as the floods in Florence.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and anyway, he searched the islands of the lagoon, and I think found maybe a small number of vines that were still growing wild in people's gardens and so on, and cultivated them here on Mazzorco. And they make this amazing golden wine, which is really unique and is very, very special. And they also, even the bottles are very special. They're hand-blown glass by artisan glassmakers in the lagoon, and the labels are gold foil. So it's just the whole experience is really special, and I'd love to take some people along to experience that as well. I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah, that sounds like I'm trying to find the website. Anyway, it's Bisol.
Venissa.
Yeah, I'm just trying to put it.
Yeah, put the link up. Yeah, we met Matteo, who's Gianluca's son, and he's the manager there. They have beautiful accommodation there and a Michelin-starred restaurant as well.
Oh,
so
cool.
Have it all.
That sounds great. Yeah, but I mean, orange wine is coming. It's been for a while now, but it's coming more and more. And well, it's the most famous ones are of course in Friuli, but also in Tuscany they're starting to experiment with orange wine and wine in amphora. So,
well, it's funny you should say that, because they actually ship the grapes from Sorcha by boat to Tuscany for the winemaking process, which is made somewhere in Montalcino. I'm not sure which winery is actually responsible for making it. I've forgotten that. So they come by boat fresh. To say that. Cool. Interesting. I love the whole story. It's fascinating. But it's that's sort of natural, that's more oxidized white grapes that are fermented on the skins for quite some time, and really interesting. And it was exquisite,
No, they are interesting wines. I mean, because they have a more spontaneous fermentation, and they then, as you say, on the skins. There was actually a producer that I visited, Cantina Lucca in Calabria, and they by mistake, one of their white wines made a second fermentation in the bottle. I think 2 years ago, and it turned into this almost orange wine, which was like really just fantastic. And the producer himself wanted to throw away the bottles because he thought it was like, ruined. And then they just opened the bottle and they realized it was like total success.
That's like a lot of things in this world have been discovered by and even penicillin.
True.
Which reminds me, Alexander Fleming, who discovered penicillin. I love the quote from him. It says, "Penicillin cures, but wine makes people happy."
Yes. Oh, that's very true. So it's been a very interesting chat. I mean, there was a lot of new people here for me today, but there are, of course, your followers and your collaborators in UK Wine Hour, which was very nice to have them here to join us.
I'm glad that they're supporting me.
There's always a lot of people moving through and watching for a bit. So I think there were a lot of people watching us, even if they only come for a short while. But that's live stream, so there are few people who stay on for long, and some
I know.
But it's been very interesting, and I'm very happy that you wanted to be my guest.
I was very honored that you asked me. Thank you so much.
And I hope to meet you either here or in UK sometime.
Perhaps when I'm over in the summer, we should be able to meet up. We'll try to arrange something.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that. That sounds cool.
Either when I'm en route, because you live in Florence. Yeah?
Yes, I live in Florence.
Yeah. So either when I'm en route to Montalcino or on my way back to Pisa. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, Pisa is okay. I mean, it's very close in train, so it's not a problem.
Yeah.
So
I haven't actually booked my personal flight yet because I don't know how long I'm going to stay either side. So I might just.
Oh, Italia is here now. I think it's Luca, no?
Yes, that's Luca. Hi, Luca.
So welcome, and we'll be talking about you before. Sorcha has. So I let you present him again.
Oh yeah, this is Luca Montori, who is importing Italian wine from small family producers into the UK, and he's based in Cardiff. So he's been a great supporter of UK Wine Hour, and I really enjoy working with him and drinking his wine.
For sure.
I look forward to exploring more and helping him find some new ones, hopefully.
Yeah, I think I was talking a bit with him on Twitter and also on WhatsApp. So he seems like a really great guy.
He is, and he's very popular with all the UK Wine Hour followers. Very fond of him.
No, I especially like his interest in more. Newer, more less known grape varieties, which is also what I write a lot about on my blog, where I try to write about smaller wineries and also if they have start to replant or reproduce smaller, less known, as they call them now, esoteric grape varieties, which is very popular in the US to focus more on on importing. So I think that's it's a coming trend, and I think for Italy it's going to be good because they have a lot of native grape varieties that are not that known, and I think it's also a way for smaller producers to get a new profile and to not have to compete with the larger wineries like in Brunello, who also produce great Sangiovese wines. So I think it's a good trend.
It is. It's something unique that they can offer. Something different. Yeah. Yes. So I do want to explore the south a bit more. As I'm going to Sicily, I wanted to explore Puglia and Basilicata. I need to get down there.
So Basilicata is great. They have some really interesting wines, and I think it's coming strong. I mean, it's been in Italy. It's been several years. I mean, but I think it's coming more and more because the Aglianico dell'Ultro is really a great wine. It needs a bit of aging, but it's a really interesting wine. And I think Molise. I don't know if you have ever tried the Tintilia, which is the native grape variety of the Molise.
No, and I've been meaning to go to Molise because there's a tour operator there that is interested in working with me, so I need to go.
So I haven't tasted that many producers from Molise, but Claudio Cipresi is one who does really a mean Tintilia wine. He's a smaller producer, and I met him also last year at a wine event we organized with the FISA Sommelier Association, and he really makes really good wines. So I can recommend them. So I think the southern regions are definitely on. Also Calabria. I mean, they start doing really good with redeveloping the Gaglioppo in a more natural way.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
So a lot of my friends, because I go there very often, I mean, I go there every year because I know some people down there. So there's a lot of interesting wineries, smaller ones who have started producing in a more natural way. And they don't use oak, they mostly only use steel. Because the barrique is a bit killing the Gaglioppo, which has been the trend with the larger ones. So it's interesting regions, I think. They have been a bit perhaps neglected so far because the more well-known areas are more kind of popular so far, but I think they're coming quite strong.
Yeah, it's fascinating to watch and explore.
Yes, and it's fun to travel around. You learn a lot. I mean, when I started, it's still for fun, but I didn't realize that it was going to be that interesting to discover so much.
Well, wine is great.
Yes.
It's so much fun, and it's such an honor to be able to work in the wine world. It's really wonderful. So I think we're very fortunate.
Okay, so I think do you want to add something? Thank you, Luca, again for being here. I don't know. Do you want to add something about your activity? Something you want to say to people who are following or who will watch later on? Where can they find you? Away with Wine? They write to you on your website?
Oh yes, they can find me awaywithwine.eu, which I can use for now. But I wonder, will I be allowed to still be .eu in a few years' time? So hopefully, I right from the beginning, I wanted it to be a European business. So. Although I only travel in the EU now, I will probably travel a bit further afield. Okay. Yeah, if people want to see anything about my wine tours, it's all on that website, awaywithwine.eu. And as we've got the Montalcino tour with Amelia Singer, we also have a Piemonte tour with her in the autumn. And in September, I have an amazing tour to Rioja in Spain with Tim Atkin, Master of Wine.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That looks really great.
I know that's not Italy, but it's an absolutely amazing trip, and it deserves a plug, I think. So, and staying at the most incredible hotel, the Marquess de Riscal, which is designed by Frank Gehry, the architect who designed the Guggenheim.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful place to stay. So all of the information for those tours. But there, if you want to find out more about UK Wine Hour, we have a UK Wine Hour Twitter account, but usually when we host as ourselves, and the hashtag is always UK Wine Hour. So if you ever want to have a look, check up on what's happened, even if you missed the chat, you can look through a stream if you search for hashtag UK Wine Hour. And we have a Facebook page for UK Wine Hour also. And we are now working on a website, so that should be coming along soon. And as I said, things hopefully, we may be able to over time be able to provide an online service for people to find out more about wine, etc., based on what we're talking about on the Twitter.
Okay. Sounds good. So I thank you again for being here. I'm just going to say that next week we're going to have Poggio La Noce, which is a winery close to Fiesole here in Florence. They're fairly well known for their wines, I think. Their enologist is Valentino Ciarla, who put me in contact with them, so I think it's going to be very interesting. And then the last Tuesday of March, we're going to have Poggi del Chianti, which is another, it's a lot of Poggi here in Poggio, which is a small winery in the Chianti Classico. And they're fairly young, I think. I think they had the vineyards, but they started bottling and doing more as a business very recently. And they also do a very interesting Chianti Classico. So it's going to be fun. We're coming back to wineries again and to talk about what they're producing. So for those of you who want to tune in and listen, you can do so next. Also next Tuesday, it's going to be 4 p.m. for people in US. And as usual, 1 p.m. for people in California and similar. And as usual, 9 p.m. here. And then the time is changing here too. And I think in UK too now.
Summer is on its way.
Yes. And then we'll see for the first Tuesday in April. I still have to get something confirmed. And then it's Vinitaly, so there's only going to be 2 live streams in April because the last Tuesday of April is also a holiday here. So people are not going to listening into my live stream when it's holiday and nice weather. So.
Have a lovely time in Italy. Unfortunately, I can't come this year, but I would like to try next year to make it. So.
Yeah, we're going actually to do a wine tasting, and with some of the older years, also with the Fattoria di Montemaggio. So I'm going to help them a bit with arranging a wine tasting for a smaller group. So if you are at Vinitaly and you want to pass by, you're free to do so. For those of you who are listening in. Or you can just write me to know more about it. So thank you again for taking your time. And
thank you, Katarina.
It lasted a bit more than an hour, but it was very interesting, so I hope it was okay.
I really enjoyed it.
No, it's fun because people like when they say, oh no, but more than half an hour, what we're going to talk about, and then they start talking and the time just passes and it's like, oh no, I still wanted to say this and that. But there were some producers who just, talked for 1.5 hours and they were like, no, I have more to say. And, it was really fun. No, it's good. I mean, it's good that they enjoy it. So, because in the beginning they're a bit shy and a bit afraid, but then it turned out to be something very nice.
Then they have a glass of wine and relax.
True. True. So, thank you again, and I hope to see you in person very soon. And
yes,
I'm going to follow your chats when I can. And thank you everyone who is following, Luca and all the others who have tuned in. And have a nice evening.
All right, you too. Take care, Katarina. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.